They are born screaming, their cries already heavy with the weight of damnation. To be marked as a Psyker is to awaken beneath a curse, feared by kin, condemned by authorities, and shackled by an imperium that sees only utility in suffering. Whispers claw constantly at their sanity, the voices of demons and the endless pull of the warp. Yet death is not their release. They are harvested, transported, enslaved, and consumed, their lives nothing more than fuel for humanity's desperate survival. This is not mercy nor justice. This is the unforgiving fate of the Psyker slave. There is no celebration when a child awakens to the curse of the warp. In 1,000 forgotten hamlets across the Imperium, the first signs appear quietly, hidden in the small hours when no one wishes to look too closely. A boy whose eyes glow faintly as he screams in fever dreams. A girl who whispers secrets she could never know. An infant who cries in cadence with the beating hearts of those nearby. At first, a mother clutches her child tighter, whispering prayers to the Emperor, hoping it is nothing more than sickness or delirium. But denial falters quickly. The warp does not permit comfort for long. Strange accidents occur, lamps crackling without fuel, animals shrieking and refusing to enter the house, neighbors awakening from the same nightmare at once. In those moments, the family's love curdles into terror. The Imperium spares no time for compassion. Reports trickle from villagers to local officials, from terrified parents to roaming witch hunters who bear the sigils of the Adeptus Astra Telepathica. They smell the taint like predators. To them, the child is not truly a person, but a resource, a spark of dangerous potential to be seized before it festers. The process carries the sharp taste of ritual cruelty, branded as witch or seer or abomination. The child is shackled in restraints, cold against raw wrists. Their cries are muffled by whisper gags, blessings etched into the fabric to keep demonic intrusion at bay. Around them, people avert their eyes. No neighbor wishes to stand witness. No parent dares to fight. Many even kneel as the black-sailed carts take their children, whispering that this sacrifice is necessary. Some mean it. Others are only trying to convince themselves. In the child's mind, confusion becomes agony. They do not know why their gifts are sins. They are too young to understand the Immaterium's hunger or the Emperor's need. What they feel instead is hatred in every gaze and coldness in every touch. They are abandoned to cages before they are even fully grown. Thus begins their life, not as a life, but as a sentence. Born into a galaxy already deaf to compassion, they are condemned before their first prayer can reach the Emperor's ears. The Imperium does not see children here, only fuel, and so the curse of awakening is not destiny, but shackles that will never again be loosened. The black ships are not vessels in the way mortals imagine starcraft. They are prisons given form, cathedrals of iron whose only congregation is made of chains, binding thousands of Psykers harvested from across the galaxy. No gilded banners adorn their hulls, no hymns resonate from their vox. They are silent silhouettes drifting through the void, black against black, feared even in rumor. When one appears in orbit above a world, it is not a sign of deliverance but of culling, a shadow that will drain away the unwanted from the populace below. Few witness their landings, fewer survive their departures unchanged. Inside their cavernous holds is a darkness that knows no sunrise. Cells packed wall to wall with bodies no longer treated as individuals, but as dangerous cargo. Endless rows of Psykers lie restrained and gagged, wrapped in rune-woven muzzles that sap their voices, their thoughts, their resistance. Sanctioned wardens, sterile men and women of the Adeptus Astra Telepathica, patrol endlessly, their eyes hollow, their hands carrying shock staves to silence even the faintest. Stirrings of rebellion. The corridors smell of fear and sweat mingled with stale air filtered. Too many times. The gloom pierced only by the blinking of scarlet runes that keep souls confined. The atmosphere is a suffocation both psychic and physical, pressing in until no thought feels entirely one's own. Every hour is an agony of waiting. Some captives rock silently, trying to imagine a life before this. Others fall into seizures, writhing against restraints as demonic whispers pour through their fractured minds. Even the most silent feel the presence of the warp pressing in all around them, eager to devour the weakest among them. Some break quickly, their minds snapping long before their bodies expire. Others resist longer, clinging to screams muffled by their iron gags. their fury swallowed in the bowels of the ship. For each soul within, destiny dangles like a blade above the neck. Some will be delivered to Terra, herded into golden halls, stripped of all dignity to fuel the Astronomicon, their essence burned eternally to light humanity's path through the stars. Others will be parceled off to inquisitors, bound to military units or sacrificed in rituals designed to bind demons. And many, perhaps most, will simply vanish within the ship itself, their bodies collapsing into husks scoured, clean by psychic backlash or deliberate purge when containment falters. No tears mark their journey, no prayers accompany them. To serve aboard a black ship is to walk side by side with despair, knowing that its cargo is not passengers but burdens, and its destination is not hope but sacrifice. Here, buried in endless shadows, Psykers learn the truth. Their life was never their own. Their fate is patient, ruthless, and already written. If a Psyker survives the ordeal of the black ships, survival is not salvation. For most, the next phase of existence is little more than a reshaping of their chains. Some are drawn into the ranks of the Scholastica Psychana, sanctioned and stamped with wards of obedience, declared useful by decree. Yet this mark of acceptance does not free them, it transfers their bondage from the darkness of prison holds into the open battlefield of the Imperium. Here, beneath banners of the Aquila, a Psyker is no longer hidden. They are displayed, a weapon on a leash, dragged into war as living artillery wrapped in robes of false dignity. In the armies of the Astra Militarum, sanctioned Psykers march among sweating billions of soldiers, their bodies trembling under the strain of every engagement. Where men and women fire laser guns with unthinking discipline, the Psyker bleeds their mind out, hurling psychic bolts and summoning shields that crackle with invisible strain. Their fellow guardsmen avoid their eyes, gripping their weapons tighter when passing, muttering half-prayers against the touch of corruption. To be feared by allies is a wound that never heals. And all the while commissars watch from behind, bolt pistols cocked and ready, because if the Psyker falters, if demonic voices slip past their restraint, execution is the only answer. Others are bound to the chains of the Inquisition, dragged into chambers of obsidian, where their will is bent to serve. Interrogators and witch hunters. The Inquisitors do not waste words about freedom. They bind Psykers with oaths and psychic brands, forcing them to scry enemies through mirrors of blood, to pry secrets from the veins of the warp even when the backlash tears at their sanity. Inquisitorial service is not glory. It is an unbroken march toward exhaustion, each task demanding more of the soul until mind and body cannot endure. Those who stumble are not pardoned. They are eliminated with the same casual certainty one might discard a drained battery. At times, the Mechanicus lays claim to Psyker slaves, shackling them into the machinery of forbidden devices. Their thoughts are distorted into conduits, their bodies pumped with alchemies to hold them barely alive. In these roles, they are kept long beyond natural endurance. Every breath an equation of suffering in the name of progress, no one explains to them. In laboratories where no light enters, Psykers scream voicelessly, their agony flowing outward, as power to feed the experiments of priests who have forgotten they were ever human. Thus the Psyker endures, but always as property, never as person. Chains clatter, whether forged of iron, oath, or machine steel circuits, and every service to the Imperium only carves deeper into their soul the knowledge that their suffering is not misfortune but obligation. Their torment is demanded, their compliance ordained, their pain a tax paid to buy humanity a few breaths longer in the void. There comes a point when even chains wear thin, when every part of the soul has been scoured and recycled so many times that nothing truly human remains. For the Psyker slave, this ending is not sudden. It is slow, protracted, a hollowing out that begins in childhood and only finds silence long after their purpose is extinguished. The lucky, if such a word can even be whispered in this context, are consumed quickly. Their bodies collapse in battle or their minds burst like glass under pressure, snuffed out before they can understand how little mercy the galaxy holds. But most linger, dragged on through years of service until nothing is left within them but the echo of screams. Some are chosen for the greatest sacrifice of all, delivered to Terra itself, swallowed into the cavernous halls that feed the golden throne. Here their individuality is erased in a ritual both awe-inspiring and obscene. Their spirits are shackled, siphoned into the fire of the Astronomicon, fueling the great beacon that permits mankind to navigate the warp. Billions rely on their torment to survive each day, and yet those billions will never know them, never murmur their names. A Psyker consumed for the Astronomicon becomes faceless ash, a flare that burns without pause until nothing remains but smoke, dispersed in the Emperor's silence. Others endure as sanctioned Psykers whose long years leave them frayed, their minds gradually filled with whispers that grow louder with each passing season. Their wardings wear thin, their prayers lose cohesion, their control slips grain by grain until the inevitable breach. When that day comes, it is not salvation that greets them, but commissarial gunfire or inquisitorial executions, swift enough to deny demons the satisfaction of fully consuming them. Their corpses burn quickly, bodies crumbling alongside the shattered remnants of identities traded long ago for servitude. And there are rumors, echoed in crypts and whispered through the corridors of faith, that perhaps the Emperor holds these Psykers close in, his radiant light after death, gathering them like martyrs. The priests speak of ultimate honor, of sacrifices that bind humanity together in eternal communion. But to those who lived as Psykers, who carried the weight of endless dread, that comfort is distant, fragile, uncertain. Their reality was not golden. It was iron and shadow, and not every prayer heals flesh already flayed raw by duty. In the end, the fate of the Psyker is neither glory nor freedom. It is the slow erosion of the soul, broken into fragments until consumed utterly in flame or silence. Their ashes scatter into the void, part of an ocean of unseen martyrs upon which the Imperium sails. Their names vanish, their pain forgotten, and yet their sacrifice lingers, a reminder that in the 41st millennium, even survival demands cruelty beyond imagining. This is their destiny. This is their doom, the unforgiving fate of a Psyker slave.